Hi, I'm Ronnie from Ronnie's Garage. I am the technical chairperson for the Rolls-Royce Club of Southern California, and we are holding our monthly tech meet. And today we will be resealing a rear shock for a Silver Cloud. This one, once the arm's off, you can put it in the press and press it out with the proper size. That's essentially how you can do that.
So what do you have to remove to get this off the car?
There are, goes this way, 2 bolts that go through the frame. There's flanges, and then there is 2 metal straps here that hook to another bushing type thing on the rear axle. That's it.
The other one's on the car.
You got a ground wire that has it's screwed to the frame, and then you got just a bullet connector for the other wire. It's pretty simple to get the rear ones off. Front ones are not. So there's a cotter pin in here that we're gonna pull out. So there's 2, oh, I broke the gasket. No, I didn't. No, I didn't, sweet. And you can go out and purchase the gaskets if you like, or if you're clever, you can reuse them. They're very thin paper, and I have found that the very thin paper gaskets you get from Rolls-Royce have generally been sitting on the shelf for a while, and thin paper shrinks. So you can try to put a new one on, but it usually breaks. So I cheat. I've been known to cheat. But if you're gentle, you can get lucky. And besides that, this top one especially, I've used RTV and have no problems at all with that. RTV is room temperature vulcanizing sealer. So
Just put a thin bead all the way around.
And the biggest danger was using that on a part that uses thin fluid is putting too much in and having it move around in there and plug up your tiny orifices. So I don't recommend that all the time. Now this is 1160. I was thinking, what all the wrenches I'm going to need, and all right. What are you smiling about, Mark?
Oh, it's just Ronnie. It's just when you go at something, you just do.
I just do it.
Just do it. I'm a kind of a. That's as much a certain thing as it.
Well, that's the engineer part of it.
Perhaps
I know exactly.
I wish I had sometimes. I wish I had a little bit more of that.
we need
I'm
to
just
invent a glove for
So,
Ronnie when that.
obviously we can't push the bolt out the other side, so once I get the nut off, I push it down here, and then I slide her out. If I'm lucky. Well, I guess I need a little more persuasion. There we go. All right, so this is a square-headed bolt. Has a cotter pin hole, which is important when you put it back in to put it in the right position so you can access it. So now, this shaft, I usually just pry it out. Once you get that cinch bolt out, this is the easy part. Putting it in is a little more problematic. Like that, folks? I get nervous when people watch me and I work. I've never liked it, but I'm learning to overcome that little by little.
chopsticks.
All right, the shaft is out. There we go. Now you wonder, oh geez, how am I going to remember how to put that back in? It's pretty simple, there's an offset. But this arm is pressed on this shaft and it's splined. So if you do ever have to take it out, let's say this shaft is totally destroyed, then you got to pay very close attention to its position. Sometimes they are very destroyed, sometimes they are not. Very rarely, usually most of the cars. Now, here's that rubber packing I was talking about. It has no real hard shell. It's just like a rubber. You guys can pass that around.
Two sides, or it's the same on both sides?
It's just a piece of rubber that's stuck in there.
Still in good shape. Would you reuse this?
It's leaking.
I mean, that's.
What do you do? Just turn it over or no? No.
I mean, we say it's leaking. It looks like
It looks perfect, right?
it's all right.
Well, okay. Well, put it on your car.
Are the aftermarket parts
It's kind of like your skin when it gets older. It just doesn't have that collagen and elasticity. And
It gets hard.
so anyways, the seal, as you can see,
Do you usually put any kind of lubricant on the seal when you install it? Or
you can. If you guys want to feel this, feel that positive seal it has now. So you can turn it and you can feel it's tight against the metal.
But the original one was leaking at the shaft, around the shaft.
That's where they leak. And the way you can tell that is if there's a drip of fluid at the end of this arm. That's how you can tell. If it's dripping off the housing, the body, or anything like that, then it might be something else, but for some reason the fluid likes to follow here. Sometimes it'll come off the back down here and run down here, but if there's a drip at the bottom of this, it's this seal.
So the first step in diagnosis is to put fluid back in it so you can find out where it comes out.
Right. That's the best. That's the first step. Service it, and then explain to your customer why it's leaking.
Are the aftermarket seals as durable as the Rolls-Royce?
I have no qualms about using anything modern over anything old, period.
Are there weep holes on that?
No,
So why, when a customer gets it done, do they say, hey, it's leaking?
because it was dry when it came in and I filled it with fluid and it leaked out the seal.
what are you using, a 3M pad?
What I'm using right now is I'm using a 3M Scotch-Brite pad, and I'm just kind of cleaning up the shaft. This shaft is in amazing condition. A lot of times they'll have pitting and grooves in them just from being run worn or dry, and then also dirt getting in there because that seal is not very effective at all. Now, I said I'd take it apart, but I really don't want to take the whole thing apart for this demonstration. This will almost always fix the leak on your car. I will take this end plate off and show you that. But so now, what we want to do is carefully. You don't want to. The reason I don't like taking it apart is not because of the fluid coming out, but there's a lot of washers and springs in there, and they're really. If it works, don't fix it, right? It's leaking, and that's the only problem with this thing. It worked fine. You could all see that it was working fine, and the only problem it has is it had a little drip on the ground. So I guess we can go ahead and drain this as much as we can out of there. And what I will do is wipe that dry. When you buy these seals with the metal housings, you'll see the majority of them now have like this coating on them, which is supposed to seal when you drive it in there. I still like to put a little RTV around the outside edge. It doesn't take much. It just makes me feel better, I think. As you can see, I've had a lot of coffee this morning. And I'm scared right now.
You're nervous being on film.
So I set that on there. I just so happen to have a pretty perfect sized little driver. There we go.
Why don't you just put it on the arm and then put the arm in? That would
Because
work.
it has a press fit into that housing. The old seal's just a rubber, you could just push it in and put a new one in if you like, but I guarantee you this will work better down the long run. Now, the hardest part of this, when you use inside here, between this mechanism in the center and the two sides are thrust washers. And there are two thrust washers. One is this diameter and one is this diameter. So the reason I don't like to take them apart, it makes it real hard to put them back together because you got to line them up. And what I also do is when I had the arm out with the seal, I was working it around. I don't know if you guys noticed that, so I wouldn't damage the seal. But when you put this in, this sharp edge here can damage the seal. So what I usually do is take like a file and just grind a real slight chamfer on it. The chamfer is a radius, basically.